So then Christensen tells us that all believers are justified not only by the active righteousness of Christ, right? He lived this holy, perfect life that God required. So they're not only justified by this active righteousness of Christ that's imputed to their account, but they're also justified by his passive reception of the penalty. So here's the crucifixion, right? The penalty that they have incurred by their crimes against God, right? Mm-hmm. God is, yes, he's gracious and merciful and loving, but he's also just and holy and righteous. And so sin has to be dealt with, right? And so Christ is the way that our sins are dealt with, mm-hmm. right? Justification, Christensen tells us, is gloriously praised as the great exchange. The guilty sinner's unrighteousness is imputed to Christ, while the rich righteousness of Christ is imputed to the impoverished sinner. So we have this exchange.
God really,
right?
really gets a deal with me. So I'm just saying that exchange is probably a little bit on his side than it is on my side. No.
So he tells us that Christ is reckoned as guilty for the sinner's sin, even though he is innocent, while the sinner is reckoned as a faithful keeper of the law, even though he is heinously guilty. Right.
Ooh, escape that one.
Yeah.
All right, so a divine righteousness vindicated by Christ. How can God justify rebellious sinners and at the same time satisfy the demands of his own righteous and just character? These things need to happen in order for God to still continue to be God. How can God express his holiness without consuming us and his love without condoning our sins? How can he satisfy his holy love?
So we have this holy love, right? This righteous grace, right?
He can't let the back door of the theater in and all of us rush into the rated R movie just because he's so nice. That wouldn't be truly loving, and he wouldn't be the God who is worthy of worship. Right?
Yeah.
The answer is that God himself must solve the problem, and he has done so through the propitiatory sacrifice of his Son. Again, this is what needs to happen in order to deal with sin. And so it almost seems like there was a plan from the beginning.
Amazing, right?
Okay, all right. I see where you're going with this.